Hey, what's up, stock compounders? Brad here. So, big news today in the value community, in the shameless cloner community. Charlie Munger's daily journal has sold half, a little bit more than half of its position in Alibaba. Okay, huge news. Over the last year, we've seen Charlie Munger double down twice on his Alibaba holding, and now we see him pull back. Okay, we don't actually know that it was Charlie Munger. On March 28th, just 3 days before this 13F was filed, Charlie Munger stepped down as chairman of Daily Journal. So, there's just a ton of speculation happening right now in Fintwit. I'm going to pull up a few of my tweets that I put out today. Here's a poll. Why did Daily Journal sell Alibaba? The story changed. Opportunity cost, right? They found something else. Hong Kong conversion, all right? So converting these Baba US ADR shares into shares listed on the Hong Kong exchange, or finally tax loss harvesting. So 654 of you voted on this poll. It's pretty tight, at least for three of these. Hong Kong conversion, right now 29%, tax loss harvesting 28%, the story changed 26%, okay? And then real quick, this was the first post I made about Charlie and Alibaba this morning, just showing that 13F filing via Data Roma. And I just want to show some of these tweets here. We won't know anything until one's sure he didn't convert to Hong Kong. Probably, but he kept 50%, maybe found a better alternative, right? There's the opportunity cost argument. Might have to do with management change at Daily Journal and the margin outstanding. Some of these Chinese stocks, we know Baba being one of them, Chinese companies, and potentially Tencent were bought on margin through Daily Journal. So there's possibility with Charlie stepping down. The new person in charge decided, all right, we got to reduce our exposure to this margin debt and liquidate some of these shares. Contradicts his speech during the Daily Journal conference. I didn't see anything in that speech that leads me to think that this contradicts that. Tax loss harvesting into Tencent, so that's something Monish Pabrai admitted to doing at the end of last year, selling Baba for the tax loss harvest, and then just that opportunity cost of thinking Tencent was better than Alibaba at those prices. And Pabrai has talked about that he thinks Tencent is just a better business than Alibaba. And so he bought Tencent through process. So again, a ton of speculation here. I want to take a peek at this article from Monday, the day that Charlie Munger stepped down as chairman. And then I'll just tell you what I think. What I think is most likely that happened in this situation. Charlie Munger, the 98-year-old business partner of Buffett, on Monday gave up his role as chairman of Daily Journal. So here's the point that's particularly interesting. Munger, who had chaired the Los Angeles-based Daily Journal since 1977, will remain a director and focus on matters he has worked on, including its securities portfolio. Okay, so there's some people here, at least on Twitter, who think there was some kind of a coup, right? That Charlie Munger was forced out of his role as chairman because people just didn't agree with the investment decisions that he was making. I think this statement kind of refutes that to some extent, that he really is stepping back from his chairman role to focus on matters such as managing the securities portfolio, which to me seems directly related to the Alibaba position within that securities portfolio. So Obviously, nothing in here is, written in stone. We should take all of this with a grain of salt. But I mean, you guys, it's Charlie Munger, okay? One of the greatest investors of all time. He is 98 years old. But from everything I've seen during the Daily Journal meeting, the last Daily Journal meeting, which I think was just in February of this year, he's still sharp, okay? I do not see any deterioration in investment ability happening with Charlie Munger. And I don't think there was a coup. I don't think that he was kind of forced in any way to make this sale. I don't think there was a margin call or any of that stuff that's being speculated on. Now, the tax loss harvesting piece is a little bit puzzling to me. Pabrai made his sale of Alibaba at the end of last year, right? Which is typically in the US when these sales are made for the purpose of, tax loss harvesting. So it's odd to see a tax loss harvest happen in the first quarter. But, I'm no expert on the structure of Daily Journal. If they might have some kind of annual calendar that isn't January 1st to December 31st. My novice understanding is that everyone kind of has that same tax year calendar. It's also possible that Daily Journal made a sale, right? They sold one of their securities that's not required to be disclosed through 13F filings and made a profit on that sale. And this is just a way to kind of offset that profit in real time. But again, I'm no expert on this stuff. If I had to guess, I would say, tax loss harvesting, even though I need to understand more about, is that even possible to do in the first quarter? How does that make sense to do something like that at the beginning of the year as opposed to at the end of the year? But that's the best guess I have, is that there was some kind of tax advantage to doing something like this, even though, I'd like to understand a lot more about why that might make sense at the time of year when this was executed. Could be a Hong Kong share conversion. I don't really see why that would appeal to Charlie Munger or Daily Journal. Could be opportunity costs. It's hard for me to understand why Charlie, would sell after the price of Baba has fallen so much. It would have to be a very compelling opportunity, in my opinion, for Charlie to sell at this price in order to go after something else. And then the story having changed, that's always possible. Okay, it's always possible that Charlie Munger's understanding of Alibaba, something changed in that, which, disrupted his original investment thesis on the company. So that's always a possibility as well. But there's just a lot of mystery around it. I don't have any real conviction in any of these options at this point. We do have the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting coming up. I believe it's April 30th, so under 3 weeks from now. And I'm hoping, a question or two slips in and makes it to Charlie about, the situation here with Alibaba. Although I think it'd be pretty easy for him to dodge that, being a Berkshire shareholder meeting. And obviously a question like this wouldn't have anything to do with Berkshire. It would have to do with Daily Journal. So just some speculations on my part. And then finally, you can see here, if you want to look up directly through the SEC, the 13F changes. So that's all we got, guys. 602,000 shares at the end of the year, 2021, down to 300,000 shares. So a little over half of this position was trimmed. And it seems like if the story had changed, if there was a conversion to Hong Kong shares, he just would have done it all, right? That's my take on those. I don't know why he would only do half. But it's tough. It's tough. There's no clear answers here. Hopefully some of you guys have come across things on the interwebs that can shed a little bit more light on this. So if you have seen anything, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think is behind this decision for Daily Journal when they just seemed to keep doubling down, right, as the price dropped on Baba. Why now the sudden reversal to cut the position in half? It's very puzzling. So hopefully some of you can fill us in the comments. And I will leave you all with that. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Take care.